Lakos is up.
And it looks like Lakos is in the middle of the game one already here with another Bunjitsu deck, Ruby Blood versus Blood Diamond. Again, a game with no Sapphire in it. Nepomic, his opponent, playing Dimid. It looks like we're coming in on what is likely turn 4 of a fairly good curve that is now topping out with Royal Falconer. That puts a ton of damage onto Lakos' side of the board, which is promptly trimmed down by the use of Meek. And we'll see if Nepomuc can follow that up with any sort of threat. Instead, he passes the turn, no shard, no play. Lakos finds a Ruby, is going to use his charge power on one of those 0 damage Falcons to make the other Falcon a 2/3 ideally. Might see another Meek here. We do. Good use of resources all around from both players there. Lakos able to use his charge power. And, Royal Falconer creates 3 cards, but it is only 1 card all in itself. And that managed to take out 2 Meeks. But one of those Meeks also got a charge power out of Lakos there. So a fairly good back and forth there. Again, Nepomuc passing the turn without playing a shard, though. And we see the draw. Quick play from both of these players. This seems to be just flying by in terms of, actual just play speed.
I appreciate control players that can play at a quick pace.
If it wasn't clear, I said Bunjitsu because we were making jokes about that being back and forth. This is obviously Benoshi, but a couple people enter Benoshi as Bunjitsu. Now for some spicy tactics, we see Mancubus. Giant corpse flag gets sacrificed, and this all goes on to the Mancubus, who can now use his one-shot ability to take control of the enemy Vampire King. A ridiculous use of resources there. Mancubus getting a prime target, now eating out an extinction from Nepomuk's hand. Both players having answers to each other back and forth. Really quick, really fast play going on there. We'll see if Lakos does anything with these resources in his hand. Chooses just to pass. Both players kind of sitting there with... Well, there's the Angel of Dawn from Nepomuc. Off the top, he has a Diamond Threshold that will be played for free. A 4/4 Steadfast Flying Angel. We will probably see the counter-stinction here to destroy that angel. Both players using extinction to get rid of alternating threats.
I have to say, I really love the use of Mancubus in this deck. That's not a card we see too often.
Another angel off the top. Probably regretting that extinction play now. But, that use of Mancubus, really strong. Incredibly strong if you consider there's also just all of this stuff to go on. I don't know if Lakos is using... Yeah, no, we waited a little bit. This has got to be on a delay, right? This was on a delay last time. That's why we were... Pretty sure it's on a delay. Tunnel's a troop. Mancubus on the board still. Angel of Dawn. That Angel of Dawn going to take that 4 health back using the Dimid charge power. Really Dimid, very strong and constructed. Got a little bit overshadowed there by a couple of the Sapphire champions, but just still incredibly powerful. Solitary Exile comes out, steals away the existence of that Mancubus because Nepomuc does not feel the desire to lose his Angel of Dawn to that. We will see Fisher-Smith swing in here, Nepomuc probably knowing that something is going on.
Yeah, there's really no need to go ahead and block here. You can easily afford to take the 2, especially with multiple champ powers.
And then Zentoth's Inquisitor coming down post-combat. It's going to very severely slow down really what Nepomuc can do. It's interesting to note that Zentoth's Inquisitor sort of combos with the Mancubus just to get back the... you lower the attack of a troop that you want to steal.
Lower the attack and take it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Even if you lower something's... just because you lower the enemy's 4/4 to 1/4 doesn't mean you don't want to take that 1/4 to your side of the board. Because troop advantage is always big. So here we see the swing. Now that the Angel's been reduced in attack, Nepo feels a little bit more safe, I suppose, in putting that block down. And Angel of Dawn gets crackling bolted out. Monsoon goes underground, and the play goes on. This is just a very fast match. Both players playing incredibly quickly. A lot of cards in both graveyards already, considering that their timers are still at uh, positive of 25 minutes each.
Quick attack makes sense here. Probably going to see the follow-up with that big boy.
Yeah. Here we see Uranaz hits the board. Now Uranaz can take any troop from the opposing graveyard when it enters play and put it onto your board. And in this case, we're going to see Angel of Dawn taken. Both of those troops get uh, decoy counters from the Monsoon, and Extinction here just means, yep, just means that those will come back next turn. And Zentos Inquisitor, the only troop that didn't have a decoy counter, actually just comes back to hand and increases its cost. Lakos is happily just going to play the shard here, and likely, well, maybe, yeah, does play out the Zentos Inquisitor here. Doesn't want to hold back on pressure.
Yeah, it seems fine, especially with the rest of his hand here. Just putting more pressure on the board seems fine.
And another Angel of Dawn off the top, probably not what Nepo's looking for here. You're probably looking for answers to more threats than just that, and Angel is just going to kind of awkwardly kill his draw for the turn. Although it does mean that he can regain some health on his turn. Lako's considering the math on what he can do here.
Looks like he's maybe even considering just eating it to itself.
He's gonna let the turn pass by. Going to let Nepomic use his charge power here to regain that 4 health. Now for probably the most devastating turn that Lakos is gonna have. He is going to have that Monsoon surface and bring back an Angel of Dawn and an Uranaz, and the Uranaz will take another troop out of the graveyard and put it into play for Loki.
Yeah, that seems real good.
He could have bolted the Angel. That was the consideration. I think he was doing the math on whether or not he would have enough to get through 11 damage here. Of course, all of the troops that Monsoon brings back for the turn, have they not had natural speed, will not have it, even though Monsoon himself will. So we see the sacrifice of the Living Totem onto Zentos Inquisitor. A fun fact, if you guys don't know this about Hex, it is worth noting that when you take an opponent's troop to your side of the board and it dies or you sacrifice it, it goes to your graveyard. There are times where this matters because, in fact, it matters in this game. Uranaz can't deal when Uranaz deals damage and enters play, it takes a troop out of the enemy's graveyard. You cannot do it to your own graveyard. So it becomes relevant in that situation. We see the Monsoon swing in and trade off with the Angel. Another troop gets tunneled. Past this is the turn. 2 cards in Nepomuk's hand and a third one being drawn. We'll see if anything happens here.
Soul Marble often good, but not good enough in this board.
Yeah, Soul Marble down on the board could have helped. Well, yeah, in theory it helps a lot here. Nepo thinking that he's got another turn, gonna get that steadfast, spell shielded cavalry out for more health shenanigans next turns. Doesn't need to really worry too much about that. Has the repel and gets rid of Uranaz. Only gonna take 4 damage from the Angel. That is surprisingly more clutch for him here than I think he might know. Uses a second repel.
Wow. Okay.
Gets rid of all of the troops on the board. Gets 2 counters onto the Soul Marble. The Soul Marble can still, after all of that, transform into Soul Cavalry next turn. So we see Zentoth's Inquisitor come down onto the board with no follow-up play. Death Star, no you can't. If you have a tunneled troop and the same troop on the board that are unique, the first one to enter the board will die regardless of whether it's tunneled or out. So you can kill your own tunneled troop by tunneling another unique troop. So here we see this is likely going to be a burn of all 8 resources going full swing on this Soul Cavalry. The game changing very quickly from what looked like a dominating board for LakosPolan, and possibly not just a stabilization by Nepo, but just a game-winning play, maybe.
Yeah, Nepo has really navigated this deck very well. It was looking very rough for him there.
Yeah. And we see the Zentoth Inquisitor gets in front there. Lakos wanting to prevent as much damage as possible.
So we see some nice synergy here going on.
Oh, he can
Oh,
restart. He can restart to fix this if he needs. Yeah, you can also hit escape, I believe, to cut it. Like, it's a little weird to close that window sometimes. He considered playing his other Monsoon, but that dialogue box definitely needs an X.
so Zentoth is 10 cost here. It's going to be a little awkward for him.
Yeah, minion cannot block. Monsoon doesn't really bring anything back. Can't target the Soul Cavalry with the Crackling Bolts.
And we've seen an Extinction burned already here.
He's gonna play
Okay.
that minion of Yazakin after the Monsoon here. Now, this is a fun interaction that a lot of people don't get to see very often. But should you play a Monsoon onto the board while your other Monsoon is underground, not only will you get all your tunneling like counter troops back, but you actually get a decoy counter on your Monsoon. So another Monsoon will bring back this Monsoon, which doesn't really surely doesn't do a whole lot in many situations, but it's interesting at the very least.
It could end up mattering in this one because he's got enough charges that he could potentially buff up some more.
I wonder if he's going to. Oh no, he's not. I was wondering if he was gonna sacrifice. I was like, is that what's going on here? Because that doesn't seem.
Well, yeah, if he'd taken the line of going for the double bolt last turn, it could have happened, but he's valuing the Zentoth blocker a little bit more right now.
It's like also where he's saying if you ever get stuck in that position, you can hit activate to zoom in on the card to choose the tunneling, and you can right click from there to get back out. It's still very. There should just be a little X. Sometimes Hex needs some things that it'll get eventually. We see the Soul Cavalry swinging in again, going to get double blocked here. We'll see if there's a murder or some other action to save it. There isn't. This will be a 2-for-1 trade. The Zentos Inquisitor comes back onto the board, and another Soul Marble hits the board. You can see the mouse shake from Lakos as he's super excited about that. He's so happy to see an enemy Soul Marble. Um, finds finds a shard, and that will buy him a turn. At this point, a turn might not be enough, but he still has some pretty good draws, I suppose. Another Monsoon's not terrible. He checks out another awesome stream there for a second.
Yeah, it feels like his best out at this point would be if he had a Uranaz to go get himself some additional blockers and try to chain attacks from Uranaz into multiple blockers.
Yeah, it's just a matter of how many Uranaz he actually has, or if he has a way to recur them from the grave without.
Yep.
Without.
Yeah, like a Rise Again. Yeah.
A Rise Again feels like a Rise Again would actually be amazing here because he could get back a Soul Cavalry, and a Soul Cavalry is probably the most legitimate answer in the game to a Soul Cavalry. Now, this is the first time in a while that we've seen that if Lakos blocks and chumps with that Zentos Inquisitor, he will not be able to replay it next turn.
Yeah, I've played some Blood Ruby decks in the past, and typically Soul Marble is a huge problem, but Lakos has done a lot of great work being able to hold off this cavalry here.
You're going to see the snap block. No real other choice there. Also kind of signals that Nepo doesn't have like a simple murder in hand. Plays out his shard. 21 health to 6. The health totals have swapped huge in this game, and that is a dead draw there. That minion of Yazakan looks kind of good on paper, but cannot block. So we're going to see the good game, and it looks like Lakos chooses to play in the next game. So a high action, quick paced match. I keep forgetting that Lakos has a bajillion unread mail.
That's true. Didn't we offer a prize to somebody if they had over, what was the number? Was it 10,000? It was
You
something
might have. You
ridiculous.
might have. We didn't. You might have.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Lakos has got some sweet stuff going on there. The Mancubus, like, I know we didn't see, Reese and Sapphire from the matchup this round, but I'm just thinking, like, having Zentoth to shrink it and then taking it with Mancubus seems pretty awesome. Or any multitude of ways. I mean, just getting Mancubus buffed up with the Benoshi power and then just taking Reese. I mean, both of those seem really sweet. The other thing that's nice is it's able to do it on curve there. I mean, you can do that on turn 6 at the same turn that Reese would be coming out, assuming you get all your shard drops. Yeah, Vilox, you're absolutely right. Having the double repel, even a single repel was good, taking out the Urnaz, but the double repel taking out the Angel too was pretty huge. It's pretty huge. Looks like Lackey is ready. Just looking for his opponent now.
Just waiting for his opponent here. That is a very full proving grounds with over 200 people playing in this tournament. Not 200 people still. A lot of people have dropped now, but
It's always exciting to see so many people in the proving grounds when we run these tournaments. It's awesome. I've been really impressed. I was hoping that we would get to see some interesting stuff here to cap off the end of this season and some things maybe we hadn't seen, and people have really brought it today. Been really impressed with the creativity on the streamed games. Lucky about to have a problem that I've had in some other tournaments. When you rename your deck and you have a different version of it saved, you have to make sure you choose the right deck name. Nothing feels worse than making reserve changes and then you don't get to actually play with those cards that you changed. All right, and here we go. We'll start off the next game.
yeah, a solid starting hand for Lakos here, especially considering he's on the play. Gonna have a turn 2 tunneled soon, a turn 3 giant corpse fly at the very worst, and that seems like a fairly decent way to start off. Going to use that corpse fly to cut a card out of Nepomac's hand, and well, Nepomic will likely be able to decide what that card is and not lose anything super valuable. It will reduce that one card advantage of going second and put this back into a fairly even card advantage state game. So we'll see if Nepomuk has. I suppose Living Totem is probably the only. Well, we see a Shard of Fate. I was gonna see Living Totem is probably the only turn 2 play that would have really changed what happens here. But we don't see that. Oh, and we see the Corpse Slide does come out. A Shard of Hatred might have been played there to get the Mancubus out sooner, but
Yeah, I like playing the Corpse Fly here, especially with the
yeah.
Tunnel Troop there. Seems
Yeah.
very good. Yeah, and oftentimes when your control deck facing down a Corpse Fly, it's like the first thing that goes is that spot removal. It's oftentimes one of the weakest cards that you have in these matchups. So could clear the way for some other troops later. We see Nepomic also has a love for the Shards of Fate, playing 2 Shards of Fate for the past 2 turns now. This time getting the second blood.
Ruby. Getting the second ruby. That second blood.
Nepomic
All
got
right.
blood.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I see. I see. You were talking in the past, and I was like, what? Why would he do?
So Lackey
So,
just attacking for 2.
at 4
Nepomic.
resources, do we see a Vampire King?
That would be a really good play. Ooh, there's some good tech.
Oh, no. The Frost Wizard, which puts the giant corpse fly into the void. That will significantly hinder Monsoon's ability to be Monsoon. But sometimes when you go to the void, you really just go to the top of the deck. No, obviously that's not true. What are we going to see here? You see crackling. Nah. And I see giant corpse. Yes, giant corpse fly hits the board. Once again, taking a card out of Nepomic's hand, and it's worth noting that Frost Wizard, while it has a very relevant ability here, isn't a super solid body, and does lower the value of extinctions for Nepomic. Giant Corpse Fly takes another card out of hand, so that even when he draws here, Nepo is finally down to the same number of cards as Lakos. Plays a Shard, goes to 5. Plays a Pact of Pain. Cards have become less of an issue here. We'll see if Frost Wizard swings in. It does not. So what we do get is a Surfaced Monsoon, which will remove all the decoy counters from troops on the board. But that is a Rage 2 3/3 on the board, and it can swing the turn it comes into play from tunneling, like all tunneled troops.
Yeah, oftentimes Pact of Pain in these control mirrors is the defining card that can turn around, especially when you're the Blood Diamond player. Being able to turn your health into something useful, like you oftentimes don't have to worry about being burnt out here.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if there's any removal or a repel available. A repel would be strong, but that would leave Nep with so few cards in hand.
We did see a repel get discarded earlier. And while I certainly agree with discarding the repel early, it just puts you in these awkward spots like this sometimes where you do wish that you had it because you've got that big monsoon coming at you.
So we see the Frost Wizard takes the chump there. Its ability a little less relevant now that Monsoon has surfaced. And Lakos not really encouraged nor pressured into putting anything additional onto the board. Nep does draw a card and gets an Angel off the top. It is the first card he will have drawn on the turn, even though it's his opponent's turn. And this will actually allow him to avoid what the troop counter. I didn't actually see the original thing that said that they needed a card blocker. So, did we put a card blocker up in front? And I've just been talking about his hand the whole time like an arse.
Yeah,
No.
wow, indeed. There, that was pretty great.
He wants a card blocker. Did you get the card blocker in the files, Hacky? Is Hacky not there? This would be the worst time for Hacky not to be here.
He may have stepped away from it.
Oh, it said I do not need a card. Okay. Oh, thank God. He's probably going to put it back up on chat in a bit. I'm going to feel like a total idiot. Anyway, we see the swing with the giant corpse fly here. The murder got rid of a monsoon. Man, I was like, oh, Jesus. How did we miss that? I looked away for a second. I saw you, PTG. Zentos Inquisitor comes out onto the board, once again reducing the attack of that Angel of Dawn. Will we see... Oh, I don't know, but yeah. I was going to say that sacrifice from Banjitsu might not be necessary here, but looks like he's considering it. Chooses not to. Pact of Pain does draw another card at the cost of some health. This one is not an Angel.
Yeah, there's just not enough need for him to go ahead and go for this here.
Yeah, I mean, the board's in his favor for now. That Pact of Pain can get out of control really quickly. Drawing those extra cards could mean a lot. Now there's a Vampire King and an Angel of Dawn on one side of the board. But I'm not sure if that's that threatening when the Mancubus can pull Mancutrix here.
Yep. Needed that to be a basic shard there in order for him to pull this off this turn, though.
Yeah. So we're gonna see Extinction here. Um, Kind of interesting that he didn't sacrifice the giant mosquito onto the Zentos before doing that, but I suppose that's probably irrelevant. Like a decision he made.
Yeah, that seems okay, because he does still have some other shenanigans he could pull off with that power. Like, both of those there are pretty nice with the Benoshi power.
Yeah. Here comes the Soul Marble. Now that's the thing that Lakos has to answer the most direly.
Yeah, and of course, unfortunately for Lucky, he has just used his best answer last turn.
See, I told you that I was gonna see this.
Yeah,
No,
blocker
I'm
Reno.
so embarrassed.
Oh well.
Oh man. So here we see some counters going on to the Soul Marble. The Soul Marble is just such a huge turning point here, especially when it turns into that Soul Cavalry. Like, it's just. Mm. And another angel off the top. Oh man. Sometimes you just got angels. Now, that angel coming off the top might mean that that Soul Marble turns into a Soul Cavalry. And by that, I mean a Soul Armaments, because it is going to turn into a Soul Cavalry. Probably.
Yeah, the armaments definitely make some sense here now. Like at this point, once armaments is in play, I mean, there's like Chaos Key that he could potentially have, and there's just not much otherwise that Blood Ruby can do to it. And especially with the number of targeted effects that Lackey seems to have been playing, I think I would probably go for the armaments here. But both of them certainly have their virtues. We've also seen that it's very difficult. It's possible, especially with as many troops as there are in play right here from Lackey's side, for him to go ahead and block and kill off the cavalry.
You can see Nep is taking some time to think about this play, wants to make the best decision possible, considering what his opponent may or may not have.
Yeah, because Lackey is still holding up enough resources that he could be playing representing a murder here. So going all in on the armaments if you don't have any other troops is not a zero risk play. It's pretty tough.
So we see the counters coming out for that Soul Marble finally. The artist gets to work and starts chiseling away at some of that expensive material, leaving behind only the fine and magic imbued image of a man riding a horse. Actually, an incredibly detailed statue, if you think about it. And we will see the swing. Chooses to wait. Yeah. Chooses to only block with one falcon there.
Yeah, if Lucky
And the play for the turn gets changed with one draw of a card. Or not.
Interesting.
Going to take. Well, I guess this has some merit for sure. Now a 4/4 and a 4/5 on his side of the board. The Royal Falconer doing his job just sitting there. Yeah, I mean it wasn't the worst thing. expected a snap extinction. Of course, another angel off the dock. It's not
Pretty good.
is not what Lakos wanted to see here. And again, that
Yep.
angel did come up on Lakos' turn, so Nepomic can use damage charge power and swing with it this turn if he wishes to. Instead, he's just doing that with the Soul Cavalry, which will get triple blocked to avoid the potential murder blowout. This still, of course, is susceptible to sucking two cards out of Nep's hand, and yeah, I think that would still be fine. Uh, yeah, it looks like he's going to kill off the Mancubus and the Falconer. The Falconer, of course, had to be one of the two. Chooses to leave Angel of Dawn in play, even
Interesting.
though, which is interesting, knowing that Zentos Inquisitor was the other card that was going to come out. It's not like that Angel of Dawn was going to be blocking or trading with the other Angel of Dawn anytime soon. If that,
Right.
hopefully, that makes sense.
Yeah,
We're
because
going to
he's
see.
already seen that one from earlier.
Hmm.
No angel this time. What's up?
I see multiple draws here. Interesting. I guess he just decided that this was the turn to draw multiple times. Maybe looking for a repel. Chooses to do all of those draws before the angel swings. Because there are a couple of things that could trap the angel post swing if you were going to be drawing. Chooses to trade off his Angel of Dawn to prevent 4 health from being reduced. And now Locus's board looks considerably better than it did 2 turns ago.
Yeah, but Nepomic did draw several cards that turn. Even though he doesn't have the board state, he could
Drew several
potentially have some
cards and is
danger.
at plenty of health. The Pact of Pain is just a huge amount of board presence, really. Just hand advantage. Your health doesn't matter aside from the last point. Your hand is needed to win the game. I see another soul marble. That's probably we see Locus check the graveyard like, are we sure?
How
Are
many
we sure there's
marbles?
another? Yes. All right, fine. You have a
How
marble.
many angels?
Yeah. Whew, not many plays available with that hand, and with 9 resources already available, that soul marble can get some work done.
Yeah, Nepomic can easily level, and he could even draw a card this turn if he really wanted to. Just chooses to level up the marble, though.
Probably okay with the cards that are already in his hand. Knows that he's going to be drawing one off the top anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna be real interested to see what this deck looks like when this one gets posted. Lackey's deck has got a lot of game here against this Blood Diamond control deck. That Mancubus, man. Do see Nepomic going in for more of the counters on the marble here.
Yeah, not really much reason to do anything else. The Soul Cavalry is just so strong against Ruby Blood, and then plays out the Frost Wizard. So even a block here by the Zentos Inquisitor gets punished. Alakos instead chooses to take that damage and is running short on options considering the Pact of Pain. It's not that he doesn't have an answer to this board state, he certainly does. He will He's considering awkwardly what he has to do here to keep the Zentos Inquisitor alive. Does the extinction keep his Zentos alive and out of the void, or does he have to bolt the Frost Wizard first? Yeah, we're gonna see. It's forgotten. Well, as far as I'm aware, there is no
we
science to this.
we
This
have absolutely seen it both ways on stream
yeah,
when we've
from the
stated
same
this.
from the same situation. Like it just works whatever way it's choosing to at the time. And in this
I love
case,
the
it looks
yellow.
like it killed. I thought it killed
It's
the
gone.
Frost Wizard first, but no.
uh,
Yep. right to the void with that venom. And we see the Living Totem follow-up. And the Living Totem is more than enough to hold off almost everything Lakos has. Interesting, interesting that I don't think we've seen any murders from Lako. Oh well, I mean, like I said, sometimes things don't actually go to the void, they just go to the top of the deck. That is not unreasonable as far as answers to Living Totem goes. Slowing it down by 3 attack is considerable. Every 3 resources being 1 extra attack means that all 9 of these resources can put Living Totem back to where it was before a 4-cost troop was played.
Yeah, it's basically like getting him a turn since it's 9 resources, which he can activate potentially. Although we didn't see him use all of the powers towards his attack this time. Looks like Nepomic wants to go ahead and get the flight and the life drain going, so he can definitely get in some attack.
Yeah. Getting that health back here, big deal.
Yep, going for another activation here too. To gain 3.
Well, we do see a super reasonable answer. I was actually thinking just a second ago that we hadn't seen murders alongside the crackling bolts, but there they are, right in the hand. So holding on to this FiveShards. I like that Nightbot command. Please show us that spoiler. Um, Holding on to that murder to just try to bait out the activation of more resources, and we'll see. Yeah, here it goes. Living Totem gets looks like steadfast.
Life drain?
Well, it had life drain, I believe. Just got steadfast and +1/+1, and now it gets murdered.
Huh.
And another Living Totem is the follow-up. This Living Totem, however, doesn't have enough defense to save itself from a bolt of the crackle. So it will take that damage. Oh, yeah. And then we'll see the Zentos Inquisitor swing in. So Nep finally back to the same amount of cards as Lakos, but with plenty of health.
So good use of his murder on that last turn for Lackey, baiting out the resource usage to be able to get the crackling bolt to be able to kill this second totem here. Really nice work.
Oh, and Solitary Exile going to void that Zentos Inquisitor. Put it in the box. Spiders hate being in boxes. Poke at some air holes at the very least. And now we can see multiple Pact of Pain draws. Chooses to use that Shard of Retribution there. Oh yeah, I guess it's because he's not going to use the Pact of Pain anymore. But he's on 9 health. Would have died here to 3 Crackling Bolts. Didn't play around the triple Crackling Bolt. How rude.
Penta, would you say that the venom is suffocating inside that box?
It's probably going through plenty of pain and suffering. And we see Extinction being used just to put Zentos Inquisitor back in the hand. That's a good sign for Lako if Nep is using Extinction to deal with a troop that's going to come back anyway. So let's see. Zentos Inquisitor hits the board. The top deck minion of Yazukan, yes we can, hits the board. And no sacrifices made here. We'll see if Nep has another answer to this board state. Angel of Dawn off the top is going to stand on the board proudly like, yo, what's up? That Avatar of Hope. You know, that's really what it comes down to, is Aurora sent her finest avatars to Entrath. And if you have hope, you have everything. But in this case, the minion can be sacrificed onto the Zentos Inquisitor. Maybe, could be, yes, no. Yes, it is. And that will make it a 5/3, which can swing into the Angel. Will, at the very worst, trade.
Is that all 4 of the angels we've seen now?
And that alternate art repel sends the Zentoths back to hand, where it can just be replayed for its 8 cost. And it will be. I don't know if that's all 4 angels, but we've definitely seen more than 4 angels in 2 games. And now, with the higher attack on its front, the Zentos Inquisitor reduces the angel into a non-threat, which is incredibly relevant. It stops the angel from regaining health using that damage charge power, and additionally, it cannot deal any damage at all to the Zentos Inquisitor. It can't swing in with that free steadfast, and Lakos is on 6. That's very, very, very relevant. Vampire King as a follow-up, probably the strongest troop for Nep right here. And we'll see if it ends up mattering. The Zentos Inquisitor will swing in, giving Nep the chance to block for some health gain. If he chooses to let this through, it could be a huge mistake. Just blocks with the Angel, which is fair due. For some reason, I forgot that Angel was there because the mini.
Because it got shrunk.
Yeah, it was shrunk. I was like, oh, it's dead. It's gone. Royal Falconer is the play here. And now...
Now, see that one,
the minion of Yazakan is coming back up next turn. This all really comes down to what are the last cards in Nep's hand. He's got 4 cards to really deal with. He's going to swing with this Vampire King, and there's a chance Lakos just lets it through. No, he puts a Falcon. He's going to put both Falcons in front. Potentially had a way to deal with it next turn, but plays around the Extinction or the Murder, puts both of those Falcons in the way to kill off the Vampire King. Nep does regain that health. Had the Extinction, so it was the correct play. The minion of Yes We Can is going to surface and deal a bit of damage. Nep has to have that in mind as he uses his resources to draw cards here.
Yep. Bravo to Lackey here for navigating through all of these extinctions as well. See another minion of Yes You Can. But before he can be used to do anything, there's a Meek from the Nepomic side of the board. We see the replay of the Zentos Inquisitor as well, just to get more attack on the board.
Yeah.
Some very resilient threats.
Yeah, it's all about representing that like constant state of threat. The Murder comes down, brings that Zentos Inquisitor back up to 12, where it finally can't be played. It's a lot of cards in Nep's graveyard. Still plenty of cards in his deck, but that Pact of Pain has kept him in this game, kept allowing him to draw answers to threats. He's still using the Pact of Pain, goes down to 4 health. Lako's super mad. Use it again, he says. Use it again! Oh, man. So we'll see the minion try. It just gets meeked immediately. The minion is too meek. But now, the minions are on alternating cycles. They will surface 1 every turn, and the Zentos Inquisitor for 12 hits the board. Does Nep have anything in those 3 cards in his hand to answer all of these threats?
Also relevant that the minions are on different cycling chains, so if he did happen to have Extinction as one of his cards, they don't even get killed at the same time. One would come up the very next turn.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this has been a great match.
I just caught up on chat. Oh, that was really... Oh, the Uranaz! Oh, that is going to bring back the Royal Falconer to Nepomac's side of the board, almost certainly. The Royal Falconer, and that will provide enough chump blockers and troops on Nep's side of the board to incredibly frustrate Lakos. That might be the end of the game. Here comes the minion who would have almost certainly been enough on his own, and a Blood Shard which just isn't quite there. Oh no, is there a play that he can do? He has to swing with both and see what happens. If either of these troops gets through, he's in a better spot, but as it stands, the Uranaz is just too much. The Damex, too. Oh.
So much damage.
We see the swing. It's the desperation, the plea. Please don't block. Let that minion through is what he's thinking. Because if the minion gets through, that's game. Likely the... Well, it's not quite game yet. It's almost certainly game, but it's not quite game yet. And yeah, the Uranaz takes the safe block, which is way and above the relevant fact here. If the Uranaz stays alive, it can continue to get troops back from the graveyard. The Crackling Bolt can be used to shut down the Falcons, but it's not really relevant here if the Uranaz is still on the board. 1 point of damage off. He's going to finish off the Uranaz. Going to go to 2 health next turn and see what happens. Remember that another minion is surfacing. Nepomic does know this. So if he doesn't have a troop or an answer for both of Lakos's attackers next turn, he cannot swing with both of these troops.
I'm wondering what the cost is. I've lost track on the Zentovs.
It is
14
currently
if it
sitting at
dies?
12. Yeah, it's currently
Okay.
sitting at 12. It goes to 14 if it dies. So the Dimmed Charge Power here on the Royal Falconer itself. Is he going to swing with both? No, he just swings with one. We'll take Nep back up to 6. If he
So
doesn't
the interesting thing,
play...
even if he gets just another shard here, he can just actually replay the Zentov next turn then even too.
Oh. Oh, that might be really good here. I think he's got to swing with both, though, right?
Yeah, you definitely swing with both here and just get in
You
your
want to
two.
put in that damage. You're hoping to get in the damage or to like pull out that removal. Nep cannot let that Zentos Inquisitor through, and he's probably scared to even let the minion through. The minion does get there, takes him down to 4. Is this the time where... Oh no, you can't you have to hope that this is fine, right? Yeah, Lakos passes the turn with Extinction in hand. That Royal Falconer gained 2 health back. Oh, Nep goes to the 2 health area here. Now this would be, if there was a burn in Lakos's hand, this would be game right there.
Yeah, just overall been great play from these two. Probably
Oh,
could have done that the end of his turn though. I don't think that the extra resources would matter, but
uses. Did he get an extinction? Oh, he uses that 2 extra health. He's drawing. He needs an out. He didn't have an answer. Put himself in danger with that draw. Was that? And this is game 2. If Lakos takes this down, we do go to a final game in the match. Good game. I play first. That's the end of it. That was intense.
wow. Wow. So just for the record, at the end of that, like Lakos had like about 30 cards left in deck. His opponent had about 14 or 15 cards left. Got way outdrawn, but just the value of all the troops that he's playing and the recursion of the threats. I mean, he just put a pounding on him. Like it was incredible the amount of pressure he kept up. He ended up winning that game after so many angels and extinctions. That was fantastic. Really kudos to Lakos for pulling that win out. I'm not sure that I would have won that one. That was a really awesome game. Are they on a delay? Probably so. We don't know for sure. That bang. All right, so we will start up the third game now. Nepomic, of course, getting the play. Little bit of an awkward hand for Lecky here, but he is going to keep it.
Yeah, I mean it's awkward, but you know your opponent is playing Blood Diamond. You're gonna beat them by trying to just maintain board advantage and try not to lose to Pact of Pain. Pact of Pain being the only thing there that really was hurting Lakos. He was in complete control if it wasn't for that. And awkwardly, after even all of those cards, he was. I have to imagine. I have to imagine that Nap was holding on to another Pact or Pain, a Pact or two in his hand. just purely on the basis that he didn't play anything really with those 4 cards. Here comes the turn 3 Soul Marble. That'll get a counter on it there. That must have been the top deck there.
So pretty safe to bet that Nepomic's not playing Stone Skin here then. See a play from Lakos here. It's the minion of yes, we can.
Yeah, hits the board. The turn is passed, 3 resources open. Nep has no reason to advance the board. Another non-troop for Lakos. This could spell the end of this exciting series, just if the shards don't make it there.
Yeah, this is the name of this deck was actually 4-drop deck. We submitted it here. Yeah, Lakos only having the 2 resources, not able to do very much here.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to discard another card at the end of this turn, and if he hits a shard, Nick doesn't even need to hit the shard, does he? No. The Soul Cavalry will be coming into play, and that is going to require 2 turns in a row of draws for Lakos to be able to answer, and one of them, like 2 shard draws, and one of them specifically has to be a blood.
Right.
And then the second one can't be a dual shard.
Like if the next one is a dual shard, like that could be okay. Oh, this is certainly bad. Well, Vampire King off the top is a pretty big problem. Although getting the shard now. Do you see Lakos is able to go ahead and go for the murder on the Vampire King?
The Vampire King does draw out the murder, but you have to wonder if that was, like, perhaps just holding onto the Vampire King was a safer play, because the Soul Cavalry can only be answered by Extinction. So giving your opponent a target for murder before they have to use Extinction just seems, I mean, maybe not odd. It's just like in hindsight kind of thing. Alternate lines.
Right, alternate lines. I mean, there's definitely
you see Lakos.
Yeah.
I've got this. Oh, the soul armaments come down, and Living Totem hits the board. Very different, because now even the Extinction, which in theory is really good, is not at all what Nep really wants to see. Or, sorry, Lakos wants to see, because the soul armaments will just stay on the board and continue to give that +2/+2 steadfast and spell shield to the entire board. For a second, I forgot all of the awesome things that soul armaments does, and I thought I was going to overhype it, and I was like, no, wait, it really is just crazy good.
Yeah, against the blood control decks, it's pretty tough to go ahead and beat the soul armaments once it's in play there. I don't know if Lakos... I mean, we saw most of his deck last game. We didn't see a Chaos.
Time is up. Attention all players. Time is up.
Unlikely he's got it, but maybe he's got a way to beat it. Here, Nepomic going for a pump on the totem to regain 5 health.
Yeah, that health is going to be the big deal here. Another draw off the top that doesn't really do what Lakos needs it to do. Although it's not the worst thing he could have got, it doesn't make it much better, you know? And he tunnels that down. Still 4 cards in hand for Nep, who hasn't played a Pact of Pain here. Maybe just hasn't had a reason to. Those 3 resources at the end of turn will give the Living Totem +1/+1 again. No need for Steadfast here, as the Soul Armaments will get it. And he uses the charge power for the life drain. A little bit interesting that he does that, because he could just give the Living Totem life drain. And maybe he wants to hold those 3 resources for something, but I've always just been of the opinion that if I can give my card an ability, that I shouldn't use my charge power on it. He's also investing all those resources now in Flight and another +1/+1. So he's up to 29 health. A minion of Yazakan is... I mean, it looks good on paper. Yeah.
By the way, for a Blood Cup player still in round 5, that has been time in the round, so if you're not already on your last 5 turns, you should be on their last 5 turns now.
We see another swing from the Living Totem. Lakos has 1 turn to find a Blood Shard, and that Blood Shard, like I said, can't be a dual shard. And then he still has to deal with the other 4 cards and the Soul Armaments. Is this a Blood Shard off the top? It is! It didn't have to be a Blood Shard. He had the 2nd Blood Threshold. But it was a shard, which is important.
Basic shard.
I think yeah. Uses the Extinction. Boom. Really doesn't have another play. And I just has to pass turn. This is still a super bad situation. Obviously, any Living Totem, Angel, or Vampire King here is probably... That's good too.
I mean,
Renas
pretty much.
hits the board. That will take back the Giant Corpse Fly. Force Lakos to discard a card.
He
And
says,
he'll
sure,
choose-
I'm not playing any of these anyway.
So unless he top decks an Extinction here... No, it's another Blood Shard. Now the shards come rolling in. The end of the match, not as fantastic as the beginning of the match, but definitely Nepomic will be feeling like... I'm sure he's happy with the way it turned out. Royal Falcon... now that I see it, yeah, Royal Falcon will delay a turn, so it's not like it was totally over.
Yeah, Royal Falcon, the best play he's got there. He does decide to go ahead and buff up. But yeah, at this point, I mean, no matter what, now that the armaments is in play, we're just looking at you must have an answer every single turn. And it's got to be Extinction every turn. He just doesn't, there's no way he can keep continuing that on.
Yeah. That being said, I mean, Minion of
next turn,
Yazpans will both surface. The Monsoon will surface. The Royal Falcon will come back with the other Royal Falcon, and the Royal Falconer will come back and make 2 more Royal Falcons. I mean, it looks super good. Like, it looks like the board has stabilized. And we will see a Vampire King fall up as well. Like, man, that looks great. Come at me, bro.
So if he...
Oh, wait a second. If this is the 5 more turns, so Nep is the first turn here, and gets an
Okay.
Angel of Dawn, which is a big deal. This could pull out as a tie for Lakos here, which is pretty much what he needs. It's his best outcome. The Solitary Exile is going to put the Vampire King in the box, that health drain just being the most relevant thing. Urena's going to get health drain, life drain. He's going to double block the Giant Corpse Fly to kill it and single block. Does this give him more turns than simply... hard to tell. Has to think about this here, I'm sure.
I mean, any of these flyers are lethal here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so single block to trade and single block to chump.
And then there's the Living Totem, so he needs another blocker in the sky. The second turn begins, which is Lakos's, and it is a Blood Shard that will be... Well, I guess it's not game yet. He can swing to try to push something out. If it was a Ruby Shard, he couldn't use Mancubus. Yeah, I'm like, it had to be another Royal Falcon or Extinction. It really just had to be.
Yep.
And he buffs up the Monsoon with the +2/+2, and he's going to swing with that and just hope that one of the troops trades off. But the Repel has been in hand the whole time, destroys the Monsoon. That's good game. An incredibly well-played game by both players. Nepomic coming off on top just by having that advantage of playing first in Game 3. Blood Diamond just really having an advantage over Blood Ruby in general.
Well, and
So-
having the resource advantage was quite good there, too.
All right, Jadeem
Yeah.
Jedi I am going to get onto your back, and we are going to fly off into the distance as the players play the 5 rounds. And we will have Hacky and Infamous Neo back here to shoutcast the next match for you guys. Thank you once again to the several hundred people watching. You guys are making this a fantastic event. Make sure to tweet out your favorite match so far at Twitter with the hashtag BloodCup. And go and like our Facebook page because, you know, we're cool. We want people to know we exist.